Energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP, Wufilia, huh? Wubefi. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena.
You're right. You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa, and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serena Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately.
There you have it. Serena is not just a tool, it's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
At Phoenix Insurance, we make the unpredictable predictable and the uncertain certain with our range of products, including motor insurance, fire insurance, engineering insurance, marine insurance, accident insurances, and all types of bonds. We have you covered. We also support you with risk management advice to enable you stay focused on your business. Take a policy with Phoenix Insurance today. We help you rise from adversity stronger and more secure. Contact us on 0302 246319 or 0302 246644 or any of our branches, agencies, and brokers spread across the nation. You can as well connect with us on our WhatsApp chatbot. EFIBA is waiting to assist you. Make the future predictable with Phoenix Insurance. Phoenix Insurance, a delightful service experience delivered with wisdom.
Implementation of axle load regulation by Burkina Faso. The attention of all stakeholders, particularly those engaged in the transit trade is drawn to the decision by the government of Burkina Faso through the Burkina Faso Road Safety Authority to commence the implementation of UEMOA Regulation Number 14/2005 CM UEMOA effective September 1, 2025. This regulation seeks to harmonize standards and procedures for controlling the gross weight, axle load, and dimensions of heavy goods vehicles across UEMOA member states. Transitional measures. Effective September 1, 2025, all non-compliant trucks, domestic and foreign, will be denied access to Burkina Faso's road network. All stakeholders are strongly advised to take note of this directive and comply accordingly. This enforcement will also apply to transit vehicles using Ghanaian ports en route to Burkina Faso in order to prevent delays or denial of entry at the border. Scam alert. It has come to the attention of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority that certain unscrupulous individuals are fraudulently using the name of the authority to deceive and defraud members of the public. These individuals have circulated a post on social media falsely claiming that GPHA is currently conducting a recruitment exercise and urging the public to engage with them. We wish to state emphatically that GPHA is not conducting any recruitment exercise at this time, and the authority has not authorized any individuals or entities to advertise or facilitate such activities on its behalf. We urge the general public to disregard these fraudulent messages and to verify any official communication directly through our authorized channels. GPHA remains committed to transparency and will always communicate legitimate opportunities through its official website and recognized media platforms. My name is Aisha Ibrahim, and indeed the show is brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, Gold PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services Limited, Phoenix Insurance, and of course it's proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA. So throughout the week, a lot has happened at the port and in the maritime industry. Here is an update on what you missed during the week.
GPHA's Tema Port on Tuesday, 16 September 2025, had the privilege of naming for the first time Singapore-based shipping company Pacific International Lines, PIL's vessel MV KOTA Odyssey outside their home country. The Vice President of the Republic, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, performed the naming ceremony as the lady sponsor of the vessel at the MPS Terminal 3. The vessel, which is part of PIL's new O-Class series, is an LNG dual-fuel container vessel with an impressive capacity of 8,200 TEUs. At a colorful and impressive ceremony, the Vice President, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, highlighted that the occasion signified progress, partnership, and bright future of Ghana's maritime industry. She noted that with the deployment of this state-of-the-art vessel to serve Ghana, PIL is further strengthening Ghana's trade links with Asia and West Africa.
This vessel runs on a cleaner fuel and advanced technology, and this aligns with Ghana's commitment to sustainability and efficiency. It also represents a kind of modernization we intend to implement across our ports and the maritime sector. Ladies and gentlemen, this occasion is a sign of the long-standing and ever-growing relationship between Ghana and Singapore.
For his part, the Minister of Transport, Joseph Bukari Nikpe, reaffirmed government's commitment to transform Ghana's ports into the premier maritime hub of West Africa.
The use of liquefied natural gas as a cleaner marine fuel is in line with the International Maritime Organization's decarbonization and also the net zero gas emission into our environment, and the Ghana Maritime Authority is actively participating in this initiative that we benefit technical support, and that is transitioning us to be able to reduce greenhouse gas emission from international shipping lines. Madam Vice President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we commend Mercy-specific international shipping lines for your approach and investment in a greener fleet that you are introducing. We believe that with the mind of preserving the environment, we will go a long way to have a maritime sector that will last for long and render services to all of us.
The Chief Executive Officer of PIL, Lars Kastrup, said Ghana plays a vital role in the company's network, not only as a key gateway into West Africa, but also as a strategic hub for regional connectivity and inland transport.
PIL has been serving Africa since the 1970s, and today we operate in over 30 African countries, offering 7 weekly services and a feeder network that connects more than 40 ports around Africa. It's a very strategic market for PIL, being the biggest Southeast Asian and biggest Singapore shipping line. 30% of our transport from Asia is to Africa, so it's a key strategic market for PIL. And we also made Ghana our regional office, head office for West Africa, and our presence here continues to grow with the expansion of our operations. Also, we use Tema as a hub for the hinterland of West Africa also.
The Chief Executive Officer of Meridian Ports, Mohamed Samara, noted that Terminal 3 is not just the largest container terminal in West Africa, but the benchmark and model of smart port operations for the entire continent.
MPS's commitment is simple and bold. Our mission is to deliver a world-class port services with efficiency, reliability, and innovation at its core. MPS Terminal 3 is the proof of that promise. This is a facility built for today and ready for tomorrow. Every ship that docks here carries more than cargo, Your Excellency. It carries the trust of global markets, the hope for businesses, and the livelihoods of families across our region.
On behalf of the Director General of GPHA, Brigadier General Paul Seydou Tanye Kulono, the General Manager for Marketing and Corporate Affairs, Dr. Kingsley Intribuesiako, received a commemorative plaque from PIL, together with a harbour master at the port of Tema, Captain Bramwell Terrier. GPHA reciprocated the gesture, symbolizing mutual respect and collaboration.
The Board of Directors of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA has undertaken a working visit to the port of Takoradi as part of its meeting at Ghana's first commercial port in the Western region. The visit was aimed at familiarizing themselves with operations at the port. The two-day engagement began with a tour of completed and operational development projects, including a visit to Zeal Environmental Technologies, a port reception facility company operating under the MARPOL 7378 Convention. Led by the board chairman Johnson Asiedu Nketia, the delegation visited key facilities, including the Albert Bosomtwe Fishing Harbour, the Takoradi Container Terminal, the Gilport ATSL Container Terminal, the Takoradi Oil and Gas Terminal, and the state-of-art diagnostic center at the GPHA hospital. Asiedu Nketia commended the hard work and dedication of GPHA management and staff, expressing satisfaction with the progress made in port operations and infrastructure.
I'm very impressed about what is happening now, but I'm even more impressed about the potential that GPHA can bring to bear on the life of the people in the Twin City. There are a lot of potentials at the harbour where we visited, and there are other potentials in other ancillary facilities that support services that support the work of the harbour. Particularly, we visited the waste treatment areas and so on.
He also urged all stakeholders within the port and maritime industry to continue to collaborate towards achieving GPHA's vision of positioning Ghana as the preferred maritime hub in the sub-region.
The Ghana Chamber of Shipping has convened a Maiden Ghana Maritime Transport Stakeholder Forum to deliberate on strategies to enhance the competitiveness of Ghana's seaborne trade. Held under the theme, Streamlining Ghana's Maritime Transport and Logistics Sector for Transparency, Efficiency, and Competitiveness, the forum brought together key stakeholders from government agencies, the private sector, regulatory bodies, maritime experts, and civil society to share insights and propose collaborative solutions for strengthening the maritime sector. Delivering a speech on behalf of the Minister of Transport, the Deputy Minister, Honorable Dorcas Afo-Toffee, reaffirmed government's commitment to transforming Ghana's ports into the premier maritime hub of West Africa. She noted that this vision is being pursued through strategic investment in infrastructure, technology, and human capital.
The Tema port expansion project, which began under His Excellency the President John Dramani Mahama, is one such example, alongside ongoing efforts to deepen drafts and channels. These investments will ensure our ports can accommodate the largest vessels in the world.
The Vice President of the Ghana Chamber of Shipping, Jemilat Mahama, underscored the importance of transparency in the maritime sector, describing it as crucial for fostering trust, improving operational efficiency, and driving innovation within the global shipping ecosystem.
Maritime transport transparency restores openness in an industry long characterized by secrecy. It is fundamental for reducing environmental footprint, increasing economic efficiency, fostering stakeholder trust, simplifying regulatory compliance, and enabling technological advances.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Shipping, Dr. Emmanuel Kofi Mbia, gave some insights as to how a competitive port should look like.
It should have the availability of information, quick turnaround time, speedy delivery of cargo, port costs ought to be competitive, efficient cargo handling, good customer service, social and industrial stability in the port, availability of intermodal links, including rail networks.
In a presentation, the President of the Ghana Chamber of Shipping, Stanley Aholu, outlined key determinants of competitiveness in the maritime industry, stressing the need for continuous collaboration among stakeholders to ensure Ghana's ports remain competitive within the sub-region.
Vessel turnaround time. So how long a ship spends at the port. In Ghana's port, Tema port, how long does a ship spend in the port? This is a matter that is of interest to shipping lines, for example. How long does a ship spend in port compared to how long does a ship spend in port in Lome, in Abidjan, in Tinkan, in Lagos? All of that, we need to look at that. Another matrix is cargo dwell time. And this is a matter also of importance. Cargo or container dwell time. How long import containers stay in port or terminal before being cleared and picked up?
A summary of key recommendations should be sent to the Ministry of Transport for consideration.
The Burkina Shippers Council has organized a conference to deliberate on pressing social issues with particular emphasis on corruption and its adverse effects on society. The conference, held under the theme Reject Corruption, Promote Integrity, Citizen Responsibility and National Sovereignty Put to the Test of Patriotism, provided a platform for stakeholders to discuss practical measures to curb corruption and promote sustainable governance practices. Participants included members of the Burkina community in Ghana, representatives from the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA, officials from the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, freight forwarders, and other industry stakeholders. Addressing the gathering, the ambassador of Burkina Faso to Ghana, David Cabre, reiterated his government's commitment to combating corruption, restoring transparency, and strengthening public trust in state institutions. He also encouraged the diaspora community to remain united, contribute meaningfully to national development, and serve as ambassadors of integrity and accountability.
Et à l'endroit de tous ceux qui exercent une activité sur la plateforme portuaire des 40 douanes transitaires burkinabés ghanéens.
It's important to know that the popular and progressive revolution currently underway means abandoning bad practices such as corruption and its consequences. On the contrary, it favors the unreserved commitment of all to the values of civic duty, good practices, respect for the standards set by the state, and above all for development.
Other speakers described the event as a solemn call to action, underscoring the resolve of Burkina Faso's leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, to rebuild the nation on the foundations of accountability, patriotism, and integrity. So those were some updates from the port and maritime industry, those that you missed. So I hope you've been updated. Let's now check out the phrase of the day, and it's on-time performance. On-time performance.
On-time performance. The proportion of time that a transit system adheres to its published schedule times within stated tolerance.
Welcome back to Iron Port. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA, and I told you that we'll be discussing something different this evening from what we've been discussing all the time, but it's also something that we are mostly concerned, our health. This evening, we're looking at a critical health issue that affects millions of men worldwide: prostate cancer. It is the fourth most common cancer worldwide and the second most common cancer in men. About 1 in every 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during their lifetime. 1.47 million new cases of prostate cancer were diagnosed worldwide in 2022. And the global mortality rate stands at 7.3% deaths per 100,000 men, with 397,430 deaths worldwide in 2022. In Ghana, the prevalence rate of prostate cancer prostate-related diseases, including benign prostate, hyperplasia, and prostate cancer, is on the rise. It is actually estimated that approximately 921 new cases of prostate cancer cases were recorded in Ghana, and each year from 2010, based on estimates by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. This translates to a case fatality rate of about 82%, meaning 758 out of those 921 diagnosed annually die from it. This is quite serious. Now, regional data from Bruna Ahafo 2009 between 2009 and 2018 shows that at one referral center, 369 prostate cancer cases were documented, representing 36.4% of all prostate-related diseases in men aged 40 and above. The region reported an incidence rate of 32 per 100,000 population and a predominance of advanced stage cancers. Now, Cancer Registry Insights reports that at Kolebu Teaching Hospital, over 1,000 cases of prostate cancer were recorded in the year 2020 alone, with many cases presenting at advanced stages. Now, prostate cancer in Ghana carries a high mortality burden. An estimated 82%, like I said earlier, of diagnosed men die each year. However, awareness and education on prostate care remain limited. And that is why it has become paramount for these issues to be looked at. The reason we've decided to discuss this topic today. Remember, every September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. And thankfully, with me in the studio is a specialist surgeon with the Urology Division of the Department of Surgery at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Jeffrey Ofori-Birinkran. I'm very happy to have you here. Thank you very much. And of course, you agree with me that what we are discussing is a very important topic, and it's something that we really must turn a lot of attention to. And by so doing, I just want us to get into it by understanding what the key risk factors are for developing prostate cancer.
Thank you very much, Aisha. And I would like to say good evening to all your viewers across the world. So I think that I'll just backtrack a little bit to what exactly the prostate is, because there are some people who are not very familiar with the anatomy or really the function of the organ. Exactly. Unlike breast cancer or cancer in the bone and so on and so forth that people can see obviously. So the prostate, we describe it as an accessory sex organ. What it does is that when a man ejaculates or during sex they ejaculate, the sperm cells will come right down from the testes. Now the prostate and another gland called the seminal vesicles and other glands around that area will add their secretions to the sperm cells so that the whole thing becomes seminal fluid or semen. Then it will be deposited into the woman for fertilization to occur. Right. So the seminal fluid that's from the prostate and the seminal vesicles are important because they nourish the sperm cell and make it viable, because that's the seed of the man to produce another human being. So the prostate is a very important organ. They provide nutrition, they provide the fluid or the medium for the sperm cell to drive or to swim up into the woman to fertilize with the ovum or the egg of the woman for a child to be born. Now the location of the prostate is such that it helps with antegrade propulsion of the sperm cells. So the absence of a prostate therefore means that when a man ejaculates, his sperms from the testes may not go forward out through the penis, but rather go backwards into the bladder. Yeah, so it's an important organ. So that's about the prostate. So it's located at the neck of the bladder. And the bladder is the organ that's down there in the lower abdomen that feels uncomfortable when you feel like urinating. So that's what collects urine from the kidneys. Good. So its outlets is where the prostate is located, and then it serves many functions.
This must be very dangerous. I think we can now talk about the risk.
Very well. So the cancer is different from another condition which is even more common, called you mentioned it just now, benign prostate hyperplasia. So that's the natural enlargement of the prostate as a man grows. Yes, that's different from cancer. Cancer has at least 4 principles. Number one, there's mutation or there's a change in the composition of one cell. And then that cell, therefore, disregards any restrictions and grows beyond what it's supposed to do or divides abnormally. Then its daughter cells also divide abnormally. So there's abnormal proliferation in that single cell. That's the second principle. Then the third is that that cell, having that mutation, now is able to invade. Invasion means that it's able to breach the capsule of whichever organ is arising from, whether it's the breast or is the intestine or is the prostate, anywhere. It's able to breach and pierce into surrounding organs. Then the fourth principle is that it has the ability to spread beyond where it started from, not just the local invasion, but to go way beyond where it started from. So prostate cancer, for instance, is in the prostate, but it can spread all the way to the bone, it can spread all the way to the liver, it can spread all the way even to the brain.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is the difference. So for benign prostate hyperplasia, it is not a cancer. It's the natural enlargement on the prostate as a man grows. Unfortunately, because of where the prostate is located, as it enlarges, it restricts the flow of urine out of the bladder. So the man develops what you call lower urinary tract
symptoms. There's an image that we just showed to our viewers. And in fact, I mean, honestly, let me confess, when I saw it, I was like, this looks like cocoa. Forgive me. I want you to explain what this
So this is what they describe as the walnut. The picture is probably trying to explain to us how the prostate cancer looks, the prostate organ looks like, for the lay person. Yeah, so it's something small, a small gland right there, probably about 15 to 20 grams, right? But when it grows in the form of the benign prostatic hyperplasia, it can grow up to the size of 400, 600. We've seen even one which is up to 1 kilogram growing right there down there. So that's the benign prostatic hyperplasia. So you can imagine that it's growing so big from what it started with about 12, 12.5, 15 or 20 to about the size of 200, 400. It will sometimes impinge on the channel or the conduit for urine to flow out of the body, right, and give the man discomfort. So the man has to strain when he's urinating. Now, when he finishes urinating, he still has the urge to urinate. So it means that he was unable to empty his bladder completely. He goes to bed at night and he wakes up 4 times, 6 times, some people 12 times at night. Now, when they are urinating, young people can actually use their urination to literally draw their signature. But as they grow, the strength of the stream weakens. And so now the urine is literally dribbling. It's struggling to come out because of the enlarged prostate. For the cancer, majority or most of the time, it is asymptomatic. Asymptomatic means that it will not manifest in any way in the body. We wish that when the cancer starts, it will have symptoms. But for the most part, when it starts, it doesn't have symptoms.
So we are talking about early detection, and if it doesn't have symptoms, how then do we detect it early?
Brilliant. Aisha, you're a brilliant chap, if I can put it that way. So that is why we've developed what they call markers. So the single important marker we want every home, every man, every woman, because the women are very important in diagnosing this, to know is the PSA test. So PSA stands for prostate-specific antigen. It's a test on your blood to check the level of that enzyme in your body. If the value is more than 4, then it's concerning. Frankly, when it's more than 4, it doesn't conclude that you have cancer because there are other conditions that can cause the PSA to be elevated. I want every man, at least once a year or at least once in 2 years, when they reach the age of 40 and beyond, to run this test annually or at least once every 2 years. That is the way we will be able to pick up the cancer, because it will not manifest anything in the patient for the most part until it is advanced.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. At the start of the show, I shared some statistics. The fact that it's the 4th most common cancers, and the fact that 1.47 million were diagnosed in 2022, among other things. I want us to throw more light to the statistics. Where are we in terms of prevalence, in terms of mortality rate, in terms of, how many people are diagnosed daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly?
Sure. Thank you, Aisha. So the burden of the disease is very heavy. Many, many years ago, we didn't have the PSA test. And so most patients were diagnosed at the late stages, and they literally came in to come and die. It is sad that even as at now, 21st century, you mentioned a mortality rate of up to 82%. That is concerning. Now, if you look at some of the graphs that the producers are projecting on the screen, you see that it's put together various countries or continents. And you see the green part and the orange part. So the green part is the incidence, the number of people who are developing the condition annually. And then the orange part is the number of people who are dying annually from that same condition. So if you look at Australia or New Zealand, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have more prostate cancer than Western Africa. So Ghana is captured under Western Africa, where you see the incidence of 25. So they are able to pick up a lot more of the cases in their communities.
Compared to
us. Now, when they do that, the number of people who die as a result of the cancer are few. Unfortunately for us, we are not able to pick up as many. And the few that we pick up come so late that almost all of them come and die.
That's so sad.
Exactly, that's striking. The reason why it is not out there in the public so much is because it's a disease of old people. That's how we put it, because the majority of patients who get the cancer are probably beyond more than 60 years old. So they are retired. They are not as popular anymore as they were when they were physics lecturers or when they were professors or when they were politicians, right? And now it's paralyzed them or it caused them to develop some complication that they cannot be out there in the public anymore. So that's why there's a bit of silence on the condition. But it is really doing a lot of damage to a lot of men in this country.
So I want to understand this. Because it's an old age disease, that means that if you are young, you don't have to do a regular checkup, or you don't really have to bother yourself about it?
Very well. So it's not particularly an old people's disease per se.
Okay.
Now, it is a disease that occurs with advancing age.
Yeah.
That's how we want to put it, with advancing age. So it is possible for somebody to get the cancer. And we've actually seen some before in Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
Yeah.
A 39-year-old who had the cancer. Naturally, what we say is that when a patient is less than 40, their risk is very low. Very low. It doesn't mean that they cannot get the cancer.
I'm asking this because, we used to hear that hypertension and high blood pressure, all these are old age diseases. But now we're seeing very young people going through all of that. And that's why I'm asking. So if you're a young person, yes, your chances are very low in getting this disease, but what are the precautionary measures?
Right. So the family history is one of the most important things that I want everybody to avert their minds to. Now, everybody must be aware of what killed their relative. So the person may be your uncle. You may not have known him for the most part because he spent most of his life in Netherlands, or he lived in the US. When he dies, just try to know what killed him. If it's an accident or poisoning, that's fine. But if he died from disease, you should know, because sometimes some of these things run through families. And prostate cancer, some people can get it from a genetic inheritance, right? So we call a certain abnormality or mutation the BRCA2 mutation. That mutation is such that, that mutation is such that, it's such that sometimes, even if your father did not have the cancer and he lived all the way up to 89 years old, your uncles and other people did not get the cancer, but your mother has breast cancer. It puts you at risk of developing not just male breast cancer, but of developing prostate cancer. Sometimes they have ovarian cancer.
As long as there's cancer in the family, then you could develop any type of cancer.
Very well. Not all cancers, specifically prostate cancer, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, pancreatic cancer. You should, such people, by the age of 35, we advise them to start checking their PSA every year. Now, the rest of the population can start checking their PSA beyond 40 or sometimes even 45 years. And those without family history, they can do so once every 2 years, and so on and so forth.
Let's look at the different, you've spoken about some of them already, the different types of prostate cancer. Do we have different types?
No.
And how they vary in terms of aggressiveness and maybe treatment options?
Very well. So generally, we describe cancers in 3 parts. You come as an organ-confined disease, or locally invasive disease, or metastatic disease. What it means is that you come when the cancer has not breached the covering or the capsule of the organ where it's arising from, or at a stage where it has breached and it has invaded tissues or organs surrounding it, or when it has spread way beyond where it started from. So that's stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. So the stage of the cancer will determine what treatments we offer to the patients. So our message now is that we want everybody to check their PSA. Now, when the PSA is more than 4, you should report to your doctor so that he will investigate it. It may not be cancer, but by all means, we should be able to exclude cancer. If the patient reports early, the interventions that are available are many. And those interventions are potentially curable. For instance, the patient can undergo a surgery we describe as radical prostatectomy. And recently, the OSP, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, came out to announce that Honorable Ken Oforiatta is undergoing such surgery in the United States. It is likely that his cancer, if indeed that's the truth, was an early cancer. And so that operation he underwent, potentially he stands the chance of being cured of the cancer.
So it's curable after all.
Exactly. If the cancer had spread, he wouldn't be eligible for that operation. So now that the cancer hasn't spread, hopefully, and we need to establish that the cancer hasn't spread by various investigations that they do. And in the United States, I suppose they have all the technology. So if they have performed that surgery for him, potentially for the next 30 years, next 40, he probably doesn't have to think about cancer because it is potentially curable for him. There are other options. So all the options of treatment are available in Ghana. Some of them are available in Kolebu, in Authority Teaching Hospital and other hospitals, major hospitals in Ghana here. There's another treatment called brachytherapy. Brachytherapy means that we've condensed radiation the radiation that we see from, let's say, the sun's rays, we condense them into what looks like tablets.
Okay.
And we insert them directly into the prostate. Then over time, the radiation decays and it literally burns off the cancer.
Okay.
These are all available here in country. Yeah.
Well, that's quite interesting. But earlier you made mention of a worrying trend when you were comparing countries. The fact that some countries pick up early, and in Ghana we don't do that because lack of awareness. Why do you think that prostate health is overlooked in Ghana, and probably how can we whip up the awareness?
Right. One of the things we found is that a lot of people actually, for fear of the unknown, don't even want to know what's wrong with them, because somebody might be seeing blood in their stool, but they really don't want to be in front of a doctor and to be told that they have a cancer in their intestine. Somebody might be coughing and seeing blood, but the person strongly doesn't want to know whether he has a cancer in their lung or not, right? So that's one of the barriers that we face. Now, the other thing too is men naturally, until and unless the thing is really killing them, a lot of men would not report to hospital. And that's one of the barriers that we want to be able to overcome. You know, unlike other places where they have, let's say, a national policy. So everybody, when they are employed, they will run a PSA test as part of their employment.
Yeah.
We don't particularly have that here. Some people to the cost, but PSA test is not very expensive. Anything in the region of 200 Ghana cedis once every year shouldn't be beyond any man more than 40 years old. Yeah. And then some people think that if I go and ultimately the doctors diagnose me with a prostate cancer, the treatment they give me will affect my potence. And so I will not go at all.
But is that true?
That is not true. It is partly true, partly untrue. So
because
let me break it down.
We're told that BP medication make men, impotent, that kind of thing, so they wouldn't want to take their medication. Is it the same here?
So like we said, the cancer is staged 1 out of 3. You come in as an early or second stage or third stage. Now, the intervention will give sometimes will affect your potency.
Okay.
So when you undergo the surgery, for instance, the nerves that are supposed to give you an erection are closely related to the prostate. And so by all means, the kind of operation we do is described as a nerve preserving. So by all means, we try to preserve the nerves.
Okay.
But like you know, from any operation, you can have potential complications.
Yep.
So that complication of affecting the nerves and therefore erection is there. But you have treatment for it. So there are medications you can give the man to sustain their erections, even though the operation might have affected their nerves in a way. There are treatments called androgen deprivation therapy. Injections we give the patients to deprive or deny them of testosterone, or what we call generally androgens, so that we can suppress the cancer. Now, these suppressants also go a long way to affect the erection or the libido of the patient. But there are treatments available to improve erection, improve libido in the patients.
Is that what we have on the screen? I mean,
so on the screen, you are looking at what you describe as the transperineal biopsy of the prostate.
Okay.
Now, the biopsy generally means that we are taking tiny bites of the organ, of the prostate. If it's in the breast, I mean, if a woman has a lump in their breast, we can biopsy it as well.
Okay.
So the needle there, the surgeon is trying to take a biopsy from the prostate, submit it to the pathologist to use the microscope to examine it for cancer.
Okay.
Right. So this is a transperineal biopsy. There's another approach we have. We call it the transrectal. So depending on how you position the patient, or what you hope to achieve, you can employ one or the other.
Doc, help me understand this, because I really don't know why men would decide that they wouldn't go for checkups or they wouldn't go seek for help. Are there cultural or societal factors that really influence men not to seek help?
So that is why every year we are trying so hard. We've been doing this for many years.
Okay.
Every September we go out and speak to people about the need for them to be aware of their cancer. Now, for some people, we really cannot tell why, till date, he is, say, 54 years, but has never performed a PSA test before, despite all the repeated information, repeated awareness creation over and over again. So some of those who are interviewed gave the reasons I mentioned previously about how if they find out, it's a problem. If we give them treatment to affect their erection and so on and so forth. We think that to a large extent, we will greatly need not just doctors, because doctors, maybe we use a lot of jargons. We will need people like you in the media. We will need even the parliamentarians when they go to their districts. Apart from discussing roads and water supply, they should throw it in that, they want to sponsor all the men beyond, let's say, 50 years, if they don't want to spend too much, 50 years, to run their PSA checks across the whole year. Or they can provide drones, because nowadays I'm told that drones are able to supply blood to various hinterlands. So they can take a doctor or a lab technician to a district's remote area. He will take the samples of all the men there, and then a drone will ship or will fly the specimen to Accra or Kumasi for it to be analyzed. So we think that hopefully with time, the awareness will go down, that every man, will break off the shell, then we will be open to testing early and, discovering the cancer.
But we've been talking about early detection, even though we say that there are no symptoms to actually show, but how important is early detection in the treatment of this disease?
Excellent. So the earlier you are detected, the less expensive the treatment is for you.
Okay.
Not just financially, but emotionally, psychologically, burden on your family, and so on and so forth. The early person who gets, let's say, brachytherapy, cumulatively will have so many years prognostically ahead of him. So he gets diagnosed at 65, he gets the brachytherapy seeds implanted at that age, and by 89 he probably still has what you call undetectable PSA levels, because the lower your PSA, the more suppressed the cancer is. Compared to somebody who comes at an advanced stage, at a stage where the cancer has spread to their spine, has affected a space called the epidural space, and has compressed on their spinal cord, and now they are paralyzed. The treatment is different. Now that person will need not just physiotherapy, they will need a nurse to help them, because now they can't walk. They are paralyzed. They'll develop bed sores, and the bed sores will be infected. They need antibiotics. They'll develop pneumonia. They'll be admitted multiple times in a year. So the earlier you are detected, the better. The person who is detected late, now paralyzed, needs additional support. He's now become a burden on the family. Now his wife and other people cannot go to work because they have to stay and take care of him. That's so much burden, and it's so expensive, not just for him, but for everybody else. So you can imagine, such person at the advanced stage does not have up to 20 years to live. For most of them, they probably do not even have up to a year or 18 months to live. Yeah, so you spend so much, the medication, like the androgen deprivation therapy I described, which sometimes come in the form of an injection or some other treatment that can be as much as 11,000 Ghana cedis per month. You spend so much money on all these because you came late, because you came when the cancer had spread. You spend all of that, and within 9 months or within 16 months, you are dead. Whereas the one who came early, because he started checking his PSA early, he detected early, he invests in the early treatments, and now for 20 years, he's not bothered, because every year or every 2 years, he just checks his PSA, goes to his doctor to show it to him, and the values are still undetectable. And he walks on. He keeps working. He's not paralyzed. He's active, and he's happy. So that is the importance of early detection. If you come late, you spend so much, you are a burden, and you will die. You come early, you are potentially going to be cured.
Are there challenges, actually, with men seeking for treatment for prostate cancer? What are some of the challenges they normally face?
It's financial. So some of it is financial.
Is it quite expensive, the treatment?
Some of the treatments are fairly expensive, which is why some of these awareness campaigns, we are trying to go all the way down even to the employers, because it should be possible for Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, and I think maybe they do that, to sponsor their men to run the PSA test, and to sponsor them for the various forms of treatments that we've described, the surgery or the brachytherapy or what you call the external beam radiotherapy. All of these, Ports and Harbour, for instance, can support. Cocoa Board supports their workers. So we expect every other company to be able to support their workers who are diagnosed with early cancer to undergo the treatment. Because sometimes some people will probably have to sell off a piece of land in order to be able to raise money, for the treatments. But all in all, quite a number of people who are employed gainfully should be able to afford the treatment.
Do we have sufficient healthcare facilities, resources to deal with some of these issues, especially in the rural areas?
Right. So the treatments are available only in big cities.
Okay.
In Accra, in Kumasi, as expected.
Meaning that it's only people in big cities who can get,
exactly.
right?
Or if you are in a rural place, come to the big city. Yeah. So we've been engaging with the National Health Insurance Authority to try and migrate treatment for prostate cancer onto the National Health Insurance, because part of the treatment of breast cancer is covered by National Health Insurance. Now, recently, the former First Lady of the Nana Addo Dankwa, Rebecca, yeah. So through her initiative, now childhood cancers are covered by the National Health Insurance. Generally, cancers, for the most part, are not covered by most health insurance systems across the world.
Okay.
Right, but we have managed to migrate breast cancer, childhood cancers onto National Health Insurance. We are hoping that prostate cancer, because we've been engaging with the ministry for a long time, we are hoping that through some of these engagements with the media, you guys will also put in a word and get the treatment for prostate cancer to be included into the National Health Insurance scheme, so that many more men will get the opportunity to get their treatments.
What's the role of government in all of this?
Yes, we want government to migrate it into the National Health Insurance. That's number one. Very, very important.
Yeah.
And then somehow we want, that will be an overkill for them to sponsor the PSA screening test for all men. It will be a burden on the system, because as it stands now, the total number of urologists available to treat the millions of men, if they develop the cancer, we are not enough. Okay. So the government has to train more urologists. So there are many urologists who have passed out. They are practicing in various parts of the country. The government should be able to sponsor them to go for a training on how to perform the radical prostatectomy, for instance, or some other forms of treatment. The radiation oncologists, they can sponsor some of them to go and learn how to do the brachytherapy. The government should invest in the radiation too. So there are some regions that do not have the external beam radiotherapy machine. We call it the LINAC, the linear accelerator. They don't have it, And then once in a while, in Kumasi, the machine will break down. Sometimes in Accra, Kolebo Teaching Hospital, the machine breaks down. We need them to make the machine available in every region. Okay. It is not beyond the government, right? So that way, the treatments will be available at the doorstep of every Ghanaian, so that if you are in Wale Wale or you're in some other far away place, you don't have to drive all the way or fly all the way to Accra to obtain treatment.
Can we, in our own small ways, I'm talking about men, talk of lifestyle changes, maybe diet, exercise? Can it help in reducing the risk?
True.
Okay.
So the physical activity is important. So just like they talk about it when we are discussing lifestyle diseases like hypertension, diabetes, stroke, heart disease, kidney failure.
Sure.
The same benefits is offered men when we exercise actively.
Okay.
Our risk for developing cancer reduces.
Okay.
So conversely, therefore, when we are obese, obesity puts us in a state of generalized inflammation. Inflammation means that the body is literally aflame.
Okay.
So there are what we call free radicals in circulation, and they can trigger the mutation we spoke about initially.
Okay.
And so that cell becomes abnormal, it divides abnormally, its daughter cells divide abnormally, and so on. So physical activity is important. Then our diet. Now you see on social media, people posting food, so there is a bowl of fufu with so much meat and eggs and this and that, so many things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not natural. That's not very healthy. So we expect people to think about what you describe as calorie balance. If you are somebody who is a mason, you do so much physical work, you dig in trenches and you eat heavy, it's okay. But if you work in an office,
you're always sitting in their condition.
You don't have to eat that thing.
Okay.
Because you are literally putting yourself into flames and making free radicals available for mitotic or for mutations to happen in your body.
Okay.
Now there is what we call the lycopene. Lycopene is found in tomatoes. So they found that it has some benefits in preventing prostate cancer in men.
Okay. So, of course, if you just joined us, we're discussing prostate cancer, definitely in men, and we've been sharing some statistics. We've said that 1 in every 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during their lifetime. We've also said that 1.47 million new cases of prostate cancer were diagnosed worldwide in 2022. We spoke about the statistics in Ghana, and we looked at the regional balance. When I return from this break, we'll be looking at what role do diet, Doc even started talking about that, but also to look at what treatment options are available for prostate health issues in Ghana. How accessible are they? Because there's a difference between it's being available and it's being accessible. We'll be looking at that, and we'll also look at how do local treatment methods compare to international practices in managing prostate conditions. What are the benefits in both? And when I come back, we would also get the opportunity to open the phone lines. You can contribute to the discussion. The number is 0245834980, 0245834980. You may have a question, an idea, a comment you may share with us on this show. When we return from this break, please stay.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP. Wufilia. Huh? Wubefeel. Goil. Good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity. Then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes. Our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water. Or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena.
You're right. You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa, and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serena Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately.
There you have it. Serena is not just a tool. It's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
At Phoenix Insurance, we make the unpredictable predictable and the uncertain certain with our range of products, including motor insurance, fire insurance, engineering insurance, marine insurance, accident insurances, and all types of bonds. We have you covered. We also support you with risk management advice to enable you stay focused on your business. Take a policy with Phoenix Insurance today. We help you rise from adversity stronger and more secure. Contact us on 0302-246319 or 0302-246644 or any of our branches, agencies, and brokers spread across the nation. You can as well connect with us on our WhatsApp chatbot. EFIBA is waiting to assist you. Make the future predictable with Phoenix Insurance. Phoenix Insurance, a delightful service experience delivered with wisdom.
Scam alert. It has come to the attention of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority that certain unscrupulous individuals are fraudulently using the name of the authority to deceive and defraud members of the public. These individuals have circulated a post on social media falsely claiming that GPHA is currently conducting a recruitment exercise and urging the public to engage with them. We wish to state emphatically that GPHA is not conducting any recruitment exercise at this time, and the authority has not authorized any individuals or entities to advertise or facilitate such activities on its behalf. We urge the general public to disregard these fraudulent messages and to verify any official communication directly through our authorized channels. GPHA remains committed to transparency and will always communicate legitimate opportunities through its official website and recognized media platforms. Implementation of axle load regulation by Burkina Faso. The attention of all stakeholders, particularly those engaged in the transit trade, is drawn to the decision by the government of Burkina Faso through the Burkina Faso Road Safety Authority to commence the implementation of UEMOA Regulation number 14/2005 CM UEMOA effective September 1, 2025. This regulation seeks to harmonize standards and procedures for controlling the gross weight, axle load, and dimensions of heavy goods vehicles across UEMOA member states. Transitional measures. Effective September 1, 2025, all non-compliant trucks, domestic and foreign, will be denied access to Burkina Faso's road network. All stakeholders are strongly advised to take note of this directive and comply accordingly. This enforcement will also apply to transit vehicles using Ghanaian ports en route to Burkina Faso in order to prevent delays or denial of entry at the border. Welcome back to Iron Pot, and we've been having a very interesting but important health conversation, prostate cancer, and how early detection can help the treatment. Before we went on that break, I told you that we'll be looking at availability of treatment. What options do we have? But of course, I also asked you to join in the conversations. The number is 0245-834980, 0245-834980. Let's hear what you have to say. If you have a question for Doc, you can also do so. Let me take a few of your WhatsApp messages, and this is coming from Yamwa. Yamwa is talking about why it's not included in NHIS. I think we've all agreed that government must do something about that. But more interestingly, he says that tell the doctor to tell women not to deny men sex. And I am asking, what has sex got to do with or without prostate cancer?
Right. Thank you very much, Aisha. And then we thank your listeners and your viewers for bringing in their questions and their comments through the social media platforms. Now, sex is an important, there's no discussion about prostate cancer without the inclusion of sex.
Okay.
When we began, we made mention the fact that the prostate and the seminal vesicles are described as accessory sex organs. Very well. So sex should always be mentioned during prostate cancer discussions.
Okay.
Now, from the research that they performed some years ago in the United States, they found that if a man has 21 ejaculations per month consistently, then chances 21. Are that his risk for developing the prostate cancer is low.
Okay, so I'm going to do the maths right now. 21 divided by what?
Divided by 30 or 31.
and so that means that men should have...
So that means that men should ejaculate more, or if I can use that term, they must decompress the prostate chamber a bit more, if you want to put it in lay terms. That is the benefits they found in the research.
To go and be chasing.
Not necessarily. So the downside of that particular research is that now there's a condition called chronic prostatitis.
Okay.
Chronic prostatitis means that it's an infection or inflammation of the prostates, over a prolonged period of time. That one has been identified as a risk factor for the cancer. Okay. Now, you can develop that chronic prostatitis from acquiring sexually transmitted infections.
Okay.
Right. So the difficulty is that
okay,
if a man,
I'm happy to hear that one. so if a man, you have the right, but you also have to be responsible to be doing all those things if you want to. Right. Exactly. There's another one that is coming up. Are you done with that explanation?
Yes. So
okay. So he says, good evening, sir. Please, after prostate enlargement surgery, can the person be able to produce sperm or give birth?
Good. So we mentioned it earlier on, maybe he joined it quite late, that there are many different surgeries on the prostate.
Okay.
Now, if a man has not achieved his satisfactory family size and is desirous of having more children, we always take note of that to inform us what form of intervention we offer that man. Because if we go and do an operation called TURP, TRP stands for transurethral resection of the prostate, where we advance an instrument through the urethra and resect the middle part of the prostate so that that man who has the BPH we mentioned will be able to urinate well. If we do that, the bladder neck has been interrupted, and so that man may not be able to advance all his sperms forward into the woman during sex.
Okay.
Part of the sperm cells will go backwards. We call it retrograde ejaculation, back into the bladder. And so it will make giving birth by natural means difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, to make it difficult, even though it is not improbable, but it will make it fairly difficult. But there are many options of achieving pregnancy. Okay. There is what you call the artificial reproductive technology. And I'm sure many people are familiar with it, where the sperm cell can actually be harvested directly from the testis using needles or so, and then implanted, by various means into the woman, and then the baby grow and you have a child. So those are some of the options. But all the time, before we counsel a patient for surgery, prostate surgery, we always try to find out if that man is desirous of having more children or not. If they are, then we'll probably look for another option of treatments for him rather than the prostate surgery.
Okay. I have a couple of messages here to share, but let's go on to the phone line. Gilbert from Sprinters is on the line. Hello, Gilbert. Thanks for calling us. Hello, Gilbert. You're on Eye on Port. Let's hear you. All right. I think that we lost Gilbert there, but the number to call is 0245-834-980. It's right on your screens. You can call to contribute. There's this message who said, yes. So it says, hello, doctor. I have cancer, glycine 3+3. Do I have to worry?
That's quite interesting.
Okay.
Because some of these questions are not asked on social media.
Okay.
Anybody, therefore, who has adenocarcinoma, what is described as an adenocarcinoma, glycine 3+3, it is a diagnosis that has been made following his PSA check, following what you call a digital rectal examination, and following the biopsy of the prostate.
Okay.
So the biopsy, which is what we described earlier on, and the histology from the pathologist, is what he's describing to us now.
Okay.
It is not possible that he's gone through all this process with his urologist and he has to ask about his condition on TV. So I'll advise him to just return to his urologist and discuss the findings with his urology, because he will have all the information. You have his PSA value, you have his digital rectal examination findings, you have his family history, you have all the other aspects of treatments, with him, and he can describe everything and design or plan a treatment method for him.
Okay. There's this other one who says, does chemotherapy cure the cancer of prostate?
That's a good question. Now, prostate cancer largely is described as a hormonal cancer, because for the most part, the interruption of the androgens are hormones. Let's use a prototype is testosterone, right? The interruption with testosterone tends to control the cancer to a large extent. And so the upfront treatment or the first line usually is hormonal manipulation rather than the employment or the deployment of chemotherapy. I must state here that over time, the cancer, it tends to devise other methods to overcome the hormonal manipulation because it feeds on the hormones. When you deprive the man of the hormones, the cancer finds other avenues to grow itself without the hormones. That system or that scenario is described as castration-resistant prostate cancer. It is during that period or the scenario that sometimes we introduce chemotherapy.
Okay, let me interrupt you a bit and pick Jasfat, who is on the line. He's been there for some time. Jasfat, good evening and thanks for calling Ion Pod.
Thank you. I want to ask Doctor, can I ask Dr. Akote too?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Doctor, I want to know the difference between the prostate cancer and prostate enlargement.
The difference?
Is that all?
Yes, go ahead.
Right. So thank you very much for your question. Now, prostate enlargement, medically we call it BPH, and I suppose many people have come across that word, BPH. We mentioned it earlier on when we began this discussion. That one is the natural enlargement of the prostate gland. It is not a cancer. That one is not a cancer. The problem with that one is that the prostate is located at a place where urine exits the bladder from. So it's literally encircling the road that should allow urine to come out. So that when the prostate becomes enlarged in the BPH situation, then there is difficulty urinating, there is straining when the man urinates, there is urinating a lot at night, and so on and so forth, that we described earlier on. So that is different from prostate cancer. Prostate cancer can also cause those symptoms, but for the most part, in the early parts of the cancer, there are no symptoms. Now, the difference between the two of them, to be emphatic, is that the cancer, number one, it involves a mutation, that's a change in the form of one cell. So it divides abnormally without restriction. Good. Its daughter cells will also divide abnormally. Good. And then it has the ability to now breach its capsule and go beyond it to other organs surrounding it. That's the peculiar thing about cancer. The prostate enlargement doesn't do that. It doesn't breach the capsule to go into another organ. And then the third and more important one is that the cancer has the ability to spread far away beyond where it started from. So the cancer can spread to the bone, and the bone can be the bone of the thigh. It can even be a bone of the scapula. It can spread all the way to the brain. It can spread to the liver. These are parts of the body that are far remote from the prostate. So these are the distinctions we expect everybody to know. Now, the cancer is deadly. The cancer has killed a lot of prominent people. I cannot mention names on this.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so we want everybody, the emphasis here is on early detection. So the person who just called and every other person who is listening, when you're a man, you are 40 and beyond, at least once every year, or if you can't, once every 2 years, you run your PSA test. If the value is more than 4, show it to your doctor. And they will take it from there. Yeah.
Let's pick Patrick from the Volta region. Patrick, good evening and thanks for calling Ion Port.
Yeah, good evening. I want to ask Doctor, I am on finasteride and tamsulosin hydrochloride. And once I'm on these drugs, can I still go for the PSA or anything of that nature?
because I'm already on a prostate management drug, which is finasteride and tazosine hydrochloride. Can I still go for the PSA, or I should just continue my management drug and that should be all?
All right, Patrick.
Okay,
Doc
sure.
will respond to you.
Yes, Patrick, thank you very much for your question. Now, I'm glad to know that you are on treatment. It means that you have actually you have interfaced with a doctor, hopefully.
Yep.
That there's a doctor prescribing the drug for you, and so you have a regimen. Every 3 months or every 6 months, you meet up with a doctor.
Yeah.
Now, all doctors, especially urologists, if you are being treated by a urologist, will check your PSA test at least once every month.
Okay.
If some people, we check it every 3 months
Yeah.
and so on. If it is high, the doctor will interpret, and then if he has to pursue a biopsy and so on, he will do that.
Yeah.
Now, the caveat, I was glad that you know the names of your medicines. The finasteride he mentions,
Go ahead.
by its mechanism of action, it can actually reduce the value of your PSA. And so it's important for Patrick, or was it?
Yeah,
Yes,
Patrick.
who called? It's important for you to remember that if you run a PSA test and the value is low, the mere fact that you're on finasteride means that you have to double that value. So if your value comes at 6, because of the finasteride, that's why it's 6. The actual value of your PSA naturally is actually 12, which is quite high, right? So your doctor, your family physician, or your urologist will take these things into consideration, and then he will take your family history. He will do a digital rectal examination. I'm not sure if that picture was projected, where he puts his index finger, your doctor, puts his index finger into the anus.
Okay.
Because that's how we can approach the prostate, and he examines the prostate.
Okay.
If the PSA is high,
If we have that picture, please show it to us on the screen.
if the PSA is high and the digital rectal examination is abnormal, then he needs a biopsy. So I'm glad that he has interfaced with the doctor. Necessarily, the fact that you're on treatment for prostate enlargement, it doesn't preclude you from developing a cancer. It doesn't mean that we should not add you to the number of people we are screening for the cancer. In our clinic in Kolebu, every patient who is being managed for the benign enlargement undergoes serial PSA screening so that we'll be able to detect it if they develop a cancer. Yeah.
Quite interesting. Well, let's get on to treatment options. Okay, so the picture you were talking about, is that it?
No, not
This
one is the biopsy.
this-
one is the transrectal ultrasound guided biopsy of the prostate.
Okay, we'll get
maybe
that
they'll find that
and
picture,
share.
yeah.
But treatment options,
Yes.
availability of prostate health, treatment, and also how accessible are they?
Yes, so all forms of treatment are available in Ghana.
Okay.
All the forms, except very few new technologies that are available in the West. For instance, the operation the former finance minister went to have in the US, which is described as robotic-assisted radical prostatectomy. That one, the robotic machine, the robot, is not available in Ghana. It's available in some countries in Africa, but not in Ghana yet. Maybe the government can invest in making the robots available in Ghana, at least in Kolebu, at least one robot for now, and train urologists. Go out there, learn how to do the robotic-assisted surgery, so that our patients in Ghana here who develop the cancer don't have to fly all the way to the United States or UK or some other place to go and undergo that surgery. So it will be available here. Otherwise, the type of prostatectomy we do here is called open prostatectomy, where we actually literally open up the abdomen and then go down to perform the surgery. Comparing the two of them, the effects or the outcomes are almost the same. If you undergo it using a robot and you undergo it by a human being literally going down to operate on you, your results are almost the same. Both of them, we're able to take care of the cancer or get rid of the cancer and offer cure. I mentioned brachytherapy initially. That system or that treatment is also available here. Then we have the external beam radiotherapy. It's also available here. There are even private places where the external beam radiotherapy machine is available. Yeah, so nearly all the treatments are available in Ghana. Now, the accessibility is a little problem because it's not accessible to everybody in every part of the country. It's in major centers where the treatments are available in Kumasi, in Tamale, in Accra, in Cape Coast, and so on. But let's say Western, North, Upper West and so on, they may not necessarily have all the technologies. But if they drive, a few kilometers to the main center, they should get the treatment available.
Let's just suppose local treatment versus international practices in the cure or treatment of prostate cancer.
Very well. So we don't, in Ghana, we follow the normal international guidelines. We don't veer off the principles of the science of the cancer and the science of the treatments. So all the treatments we offer here, which we've been doing for many years, brachytherapy, for instance, has been available in the country since 2008, thereabouts, for many, many years. And a lot of people, politicians and big pastors and so, they've all benefited from that treatment in Ghana, and majority of them are alive. Okay. Yeah, so the treatments we have here can't compare internationally with any other part of the world. The evaluation to arrive at the diagnosis of the cancer and therefore the need for the treatment is also standardized. So across the world and in Ghana, the treatments, the evaluation, the diagnosis, we are all at par.
Okay.